As individuals, we go through many developmental stages in life. As we age, we gain new experiences through our studies, friendships, and journeys. As experiences unfold, we refine our unique skill sets and utilize them in ways to adapt to the challenges that await us. Yet at times, we may fail. Our resilience and faith in our beliefs help us persevere to greater heights. As we grow, so do our heroes. If I take one thing from my experience with Mega Man 4 and make that the focal point of this video, it would be growth. Mega Man 4 to me is that moment in the series where you realize the current formula has truly been perfected. Sure, we can always discover new tools and ways to challenge ourselves, but mechanically speaking, there is something magical about this formula that just feels right, where you sit back and realize we have been here before, yet returned with a sense of clarity. Where Mega Man 2 took the core concepts of the original and fleshed them out, Mega Man 3 refined them mechanically. Mega Man 3 was ambitious and had many ideas that didn't have the proper time to curate and come to fruition. In other words, we had too many cooks in the kitchen, and with the changing staff at that time, not the right ones. However, in Mega Man 4, we did so in a way a student has had the time to practice a formula. It means undergoing that working phase of a relationship and now executing the process flawlessly each time. We always have room to grow and evolve, but for now, what we have has some merit. We have perfected the formula to date, and with that said, we now reap the rewards of Mega Man 4. Now, the development of Mega Man 4 went quite smoothly this time around. There was no surprise changes throughout the process, and KJ Inafune had the opportunity to direct his attention back to the drawing board. I guess you could say it was a time of peace and prosperity at Capcom, and with Mega Man 4 in motion, he would design the latest of the mad scientist gang, going by the name Dr. Cossack. This new roboticist was originally planned to go by the alias Dr. Vice, which would look more like a young American scientist, but for story purposes, went with a Russian-inspired scientist. Dr. Cossack would be accompanied alongside his daughter Kalinka, designed with the intent to give us an additional female role moving forward and fleshing out the Mega Man universe a bit more. Fans of the Mega Man series would also be introduced to Eddie, whom would aid Mega Man along his journey in various parts throughout. The concept for this supporting cast member came by the luck of the draw, you could say. A chance to give Mega Man a random item drop, almost as if the player hit the lottery or jackpot. However, the greatest change in Mega Man 4 and a personal favorite comes with the addition of the chargeable Mega Shot, or Charge Shot for short. This weapon upgrade was designed by none other than Hayato Kaji. The gameplay mechanic would not only become a staple in the series going forward, but change the run and gun formula altogether. In addition, Capcom would again get the community riled up for the latest installment with the next Robot Master contest. All mad scientists were needed for this go around, and as a result, 70,000 additional character models were submitted to Capcom. This time around, fans were a bit more seasoned to the contest. According to Kaji, these fan submissions were very impressive, and many design choices overall concluded with little to no changes to their original Robot Master illustrations. Capcom would also go on record stating a personal favorite pick this time around was Skullman, and as a late submission, the team would go to great lengths to incorporate him into the game, reworking an entire level with brand new assets to incorporate Skullman's design. To show appreciation for the hard work within the community, Capcom gave back to the contest finalists, awarding the winning 8 contestants a very special gold Mega Man 4 Famicom cartridge. You thought the Nintendo World Championships carts were rare and coveted? Well, they got nothing on the Mega Man 4 gold carts. Personally, I'll never see one in person, but I guess I'll have to settle for this fun gold Punch-Out cart given out by Nintendo for attending the NES Open Tournament. But hey, let's get back to the action and find out what the deal is with this Dr. Cossack. 1 year has passed since the events of Mega Man 3. Gamma was destroyed at the hands of Mega Man, and many presumed in the aftermath Dr. Wily had been crushed underneath the collapsed Skull Fortress. In the passing time, the world would live in peace, and the Mega Man gang was settling into a robo-renaissance. Dr. Light would design new power-ups for our Blue Bomber and a new member of the team. In time, another robot scientist would come to power in the form of Dr. Cossack, who was studying up on the good doctor himself. In the midst of working on his new discoveries, Dr. Light would receive a letter in the mail by this Dr. Cossack. Dr. Cossack claimed he was long overlooked and living in the shadows of the late great Dr. Light. In order to get the recognition that he deserved, he would send 8 of his strongest robot creations Dr. Light's way to challenge Mega Man for scientific supremacy. Well, if that's even a thing, proving once and for all just who was the greatest of the 2 roboticists. Now, in fact, this letter sent to Dr. Light was actually printed in the North American instruction manual, so we can get a bit more clarity on just exactly what Dr. Cossack wrote to Dr. Light. The letter would state, "Good evening, Dr. Light. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Dr. Cossack. You may not have heard of me, but soon the world would know my name. Over the years, you have been hailed as the greatest robot designer in the world, while my robotic creations have been totally ignored. I cannot cannot allow this to continue. The world must be made aware of my genius. From my Siberian citadel, I've sent 8 of my most powerful robots to destroy that titanium troublemaker Mega Man. Once they have obliterated him, I will place his broken body on display to the entire world to see. Only then will I be allowed to take my place as the greatest robot designer of all time. What in the name of Rocky IV did I just read? Now, equipped with his newly charged Mega Buster, Mega Man stands his ground, preparing to take on the very best robot masters Dr. Cossack has to offer. What will he discover behind the motives of the mad roboticist? Well, in order to do so, we need to dive deeper into the depths of Mega Man 4. For starters, we have the newly acquired Charge Shot, that in a sense is almost therapeutic to fire. Once I use it, I can't help but charge it again. It not only feels great to shoot, but it also just sounds so sweet to fire. As maniacal as that may sound, it's an awesome visual to see in motion. Next to the slide, the Charge Shot is a must. Now granted, yes, you don't have to have this in your repertoire to enjoy the experience, but it's another instance of once you've tried it, you can't deny it. It's popping open your favorite bag of snack chips and only eating one. In that case, you're going for a second, and you do just that with the Charge Shot. Now, as far as mechanically, Mega Man's new Buster Cannon can be charged for up to 2 additional levels for more powerful shots. This is performed as a trade-off for a lower firing rate, so you need to not only use precision, but a bit more strategy when firing off. It's useful at times to wait an extra second or two for a horde of enemies to fall into a line of fire upon release of your shot. In addition, the charge shots do much higher damage rate, with the after effects passing through enemies for the potential to hit the additional targets, wiping out an entire line of defense. The charge shot is not only an alternate means of firepower, but also gives your playthrough an entirely new look. You now have a variety of ways to run and gun throughout the stage. You may enjoy using the standard high firing Mega Buster, or take your time and fire a larger, more precise shot that can lead to similar results, clearing your path ahead. This makes for a great variety of stage progression and speedrunning altogether. In my opinion, the charge shot gets better with the experience, and after you have played through a stage multiple times, your muscle memory kicks in. You begin getting creative with your attacks so effortlessly, you start feeling as if you're Neo traveling through the Matrix. Now, it appears the Mega Man fam is growing with each game. He now has a sister in Roll, a long-lost brother in Proto Man, and a faithful companion in Rush. However, the family reunion doesn't stop there. Meet Eddie, also going by the nickname Flip Top, that will be a recurring character moving forward from this point. Eddie is a fun little design that provides Mega Man with an item at random, coming in the form of health and power-ups, integral to veterans and newcomers of the series alike. There will be instances that I'm having a bad time getting wrecked along the way, only for this cute cuddly bot to pop his top like a can of Pringles and deliver me an E-tank or a massive health capsule along the way. Eddie drops in at random from time to time like grandparents with freshly baked cookies and cakes. As I mentioned, Rush returns and still comes equipped with his awesome transformation abilities of the Rush Coil, Rush Jet, and Rush Marine to travel the various terrains, but to accompany these, so do the item devices this time in the form of the wire adapter and balloon adapter. Here, they are implemented to allow Mega Man to reach areas normally inaccessible. Unlike the item devices of the past awarded upon a Robot Master's defeat, these new adapters are located somewhere in the whereabouts of the 8 Robot Master stages. The wire adapter is used to attach Mega Man to a ceiling, requiring Mega Man to look upwards prior to firing the shot and holding up on the D-pad. The balloon adapter works very similar to the item device 1, yet allowing up to 8 balloons to be fired, giving Mega Man a much greater opportunity to navigate up and over some of the most tricky platforming segments. Mega Man 4 feels like a natural progression in the series. For some, it's the same old song and dance, but there's so much more here to uncover. We have had 3 installments, and it feels like Capcom is literally running a victory lap around the competition. The stages in Mega Man 4 look beautifully crafted, and not only utilize the stage assets and color palette well, but incorporates physics through the various stages, delivering on each Robot Master's central theme. Toadman stage begins with a rooftop run across beautifully crafted architecture, bursting at the brim with waterfalls that fill the depths below. As you progress, the harsh terrains begin to take a toll on your footwork, the heavy rains pushing you backwards until you reach the flooded interior, drenched with rain runoff that houses the robotic marshes, leaving you anticipating your every step. The electrical currents of Brightman stage encapsulates the backgrounds, setting the tone. The atmosphere is unsettling, leaving you feeling as if you are running aimlessly through the massive power plant filled with malfunctioning power generators. Lights begin to turn on and flickering off at every turn, and with each step you take, the platforming gets that much more intense, with moving pieces rotating in the most unorthodox of ways. Can we also mention for a second the bizarre mix of enemies scattered throughout the stage? I loved uncovering the ancient tomb of Pharaoh Man stage. This is by far my favorite stage, and the set pieces here are so well done. You begin by besting the ever-shifting quicksands filled with heavy metal scorpions, only to fall into a tomb enriched with mummies and bots. The later stretches of the stage stage are some of the absolute coolest shit you will see in this game. Ringman stage always made me the most frustrated due to the disappearing ring bands made for some thrilling platforming. The stages at times can be extremely challenging, but also is just so unique in a variety of ways, there's really nothing else quite like it in the game. Another standout for me is Dustman stage. With the actual stage itself decomposing in a sense around you, the mechanical madness of the gears attempting to make Mega Man part of the metal scraps buried within the stage itself. Every Robot Master was beautifully crafted, and you can tell the love that the fans poured into these designs. As I mentioned, Capcom had very little to any influence over these designs, and I love the idea of the concepts such as Dustman and the sheer terror that comes from Skullman at first glance. My two favorite Robot Masters this go around by far are Toadman and Pharaohman. Toadman can be a complete pushover, but his stature and design is top notch. They really designed his aesthetic perfectly down to his stocky reptilian frame. His attacks were also so well thought out, with him literally crouched down and ready to jump at every turn, only to cast a downpour in the process. While Toadman is the easiest of the 8 this go around, Pharaohman by far is the most deadly and a sheer assassin at that. I talk a big game about Shadow Man and Mega Man 3, but this guy had to be designed with Shadow Man in mind. He is so freaking fast, and anyone facing him knows damn well they aren't going into this fight without Bright Man's skill, or you are getting owned the minute that gate closes. While Mega Man is off battling through Cossack's forces, Proto Man does some detective work of his own. He discovers the motive behind the new Doctor's attacks. The reveal is that Cossack is merely a puppet strung along in this unfolding tragedy due to the kidnapping of his daughter. Hot on the lead, Proto Man finds her location and rescues her during a climactic battle between Mega Man and Cossack. The curtains pull back, and out of the shadows appears Wily once more for another showdown. Wily's furious with the fact that Proto Man has betrayed him and uncovers his new and improved Wily Fortress, now fortified with some of the latest and greatest in Wily technologies. The Cossack and Wily Fortress stages feel immersive and on a grand scheme feel like a big deal overall. These stages do a great job incorporating the many enemies and hazards we have come accustomed to throughout the game and implementing them into this final stretch. That is how you take the tools you have been given and be able to express them in an environment that grants you the opportunity to do so. With every new installment in the NES Mega Man series, the games feel that much more colorful, vibrant, and charming, this all being done on an 8-bit Nintendo console. At this very moment, I feel like Capcom has begun to perfect the capabilities of the NES hardware. Not only are we greeted to a well-rounded cast of beautifully designed enemies, but we additionally were given 2 fortresses to run through. Part of this feels like as if Inafune and the gang truly had the time and place to flesh out many of these ideas this go around. The stage boss designs are large and beautifully crafted, and although they are well designed, they don't have a specific gimmick, but more so feel like an evolution of bosses throughout the series. In the aftermath, Wily kneels at the feet of Mega Man once more, only to find Mega Man hesitant just long enough for Wily to reveal a rotating door to make his great escape, leaving his fortress crumbling once more, now into the snow-covered fields. Though the counter-argument may stand that much of Mega Man 4's design choices doesn't present the same overall challenge as prior installments, I believe this is due to the overall evolution of the series feeling stronger overall in presentation, never cheapening the experience or done to satisfy an agenda. The levels feel fluid and fun to journey through. If I lose, it doesn't feel like I was cheated in the process. That's what makes the difficulty curve perfectly executed. It presents a challenge that teaches you along the way. As you begin your next playthrough, you gain a greater sense of understanding regarding the platforming, format, and mechanics. Just because a game isn't painfully difficult for the sake of it to be difficult doesn't mean it's not an enjoyable experience. The biggest takeaway I want from that experience is, did I have fun? Furthermore, was I fulfilled playing this? And the answer here is yes, I was. In fact, if a game is balanced properly, the difficulty of the game itself should naturally follow suit. This correlates to a perfect learning curve. The game itself utilizes the stage design to teach you how to naturally progress through again and again, and when you die, you feel it was a player error and not so much by design. The stages are very well strategically designed with that in mind. In closing, although we may have had 3 installments in the series leading up to this point, doesn't mean we can't have a 4th or that a series is stagnant. I believe Capcom understands this to some extent and did a great deal of fan service here on the NES with Mega Man, and it truly shows with the craftsmanship of the later games. In a modern climate where we are starving for new content surrounded by remakes and reboots, Capcom maintained this newly found momentum and carried the Blue Bomber forward into this ever-changing landscape that is the world of Capcom. With that said, how will these events lead our hero going forward into future endeavors? All of that to come in the next go-around as we embark next time on Mega Man 5.